I'm on VIP. Sorry, I have to set up the live stream. Just a minute.
Yeah, that's okay. How are you? Yeah, I can see it's working.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
recording to Zoom
Just give
and
me a
LinkedIn. Okay.
Zoom, and I share the Zoom screen. Nothing else.
Oh, lovely. I can't see
Um,
you though. I can only see myself. I don't know why.
yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay. No worries.
Just a
I
minute.
have also created a PRD. So we'll see what fun we have today, trying to translate that into action.
Yeah. Let me. I have to search for the Zoom window on my on OBS, and I can't find it. Ah, yeah, I can see. Nice. And now I start the streaming.
Okay.
LinkedIn, because they don't give you the key, the stream key, just 10 minutes before the event, so you can't
Oh, I
set
see.
up. Yeah. And another one for YouTube. Let me go to the studio. Need to switch the accounts first. Yeah. The UK chapter account. Yeah. There's an error. Yeah. Oh. Because I set it up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
With my channels live upcoming. There we go.
So this goes to LinkedIn as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice one. It's connected to the Agentics Foundation LinkedIn or your LinkedIn?
On the Agentics Foundation.
Very nice. Okay.
Okay, stream URL. Fine, and the stream key is
Oh, okay.
copy.
What can I do with the stream key? I can just put it on my.
No, it's
Oh, you are streaming. Okay, lovely.
I'm streaming, yeah. And the OBS.
Okay. We have had 50 confirmation. People have confirmed, right? So hopefully we should have a reasonable audience dialing in. So we'll see. I will just message on the
Yeah.
group as well that we are on it. Hi. Oh, not sure. I can only see Ben's and I on the Zoom call. Let me cross check. Well, Dennis is saying he's on a wrong place, so I will copy paste the link from here and then paste it onto the main chat, right? Did you set up a Teams call by any chance?
And the streaming.
This
Just a
is
second.
where we are. So so Dennis, oh, was there a Teams invite in this setup? Let me cross check.
Zoom.
Let us
So
cross.
everybody's seeing you now. You are live, Monvi.
Am I? Oh, hello.
Yeah.
No, I'm basically referring to Dennis. He's put on the chat that he got given a Teams call. So I have pasted the Zoom call on the chat.
Nice. I gave him the Zoom call.
All right, lovely.
Let me go back to LinkedIn.
I think the LinkedIn, yeah, okay, you're doing that.
LinkedIn starting now.
Lovely. I don't think anyone should get confused with the Teams because there's nothing about Teams on the invite. On the main Luma page, there's nothing about Teams. There's Zoom there. It's very clear.
Yeah.
And the link for Zoom is not mentioned in the Luma link. I'm just wondering if that may be confusing. But you have sent it via email to all the attendees, I'm presuming.
Yeah, so as a blast, it's in the invite, and also the Google invite has been sent. But now I don't know how many people can hear us because I don't know how to. This I totally forgotten.
Okay, currently on Zoom. So shall we just make a start? Because I don't think anyone is, it's you and I on the Zoom call.
Yeah, I need to admit people because I made it very secure, I guess.
Okay.
Let's see. I can't see. 8 people, admit.
Yeah, we see our members joining in. Hello. Hi, Chris. Hi,
Hi,
Jane.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just getting our logistics organized as you'd expect on the first event. So we should get. Hi, hey, Ravi. Great to see you. It's what 4 a.m. for you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, everybody.
5:30 now.
5:30
It's
for
better.
you in the morning.
Yeah,
Better
very
than
early.
Eastern.
Oh, you raise the stakes for the event now. Dialing in from New Zealand. Lovely. Great to see you. Hi, Dennis.
Hello. It's 6:30 here, so it's pretty civilized.
Where are you, Chris? Oh,
Chris?
I missed that. Hello, sorry.
yeah.
I'm good. Busy, which is why you've hardly seen me, but hey.
Right. Given that this is our first session, so thank you all for making the time today. I think we are being streamed on LinkedIn and YouTube. I think Ben has kindly set that up, but just for information. The intent here is for us to get to know each other better, I guess, at this level, at the London level. Because I'm not sure, like I can see, I mean, almost all of you probably saw Armand and Connor and Jim, Marcus, Max, Peter. So we may have met. So apologies if I am unable to, because I'm not able to see everyone. So there is just thought that we'll start with kind of a series of questions to say, like, what is the maturity level of what do we want out of this call? And then effectively get some feedback loop at the end of the hour or 56 minutes now to say what value we have gone from this session and in the future. So I'm going to just walk the talk very quickly. Just want to see, how many of us do not know about Agentics Foundation or Cloudflow? Is there anyone here who does not know? Is this their first call? Hi, Max. Right, you're on mute. But to be honest with you, we'll just take 2 minutes just to lay the, I guess, kind of cover the overall ground, and then we got an agenda that I will pass over to Ben's to kind of socialize. But I can't share, so Ben's, I have to request you, I think, to share my screen. So I have sent you a request. Yes, now I can share. So I am going to share my screen. So it is a build session, so we're going to build, right? But before we go into that, if I could kindly request you to please answer the first 3 questions on the Menti meter thing. And meanwhile, I will just try to spend a minute talking about Agentics Foundation for those of us who may not know much about this. So we are the London chapter of a nonprofit organization called Agentics Foundation. That's the website. The whole intent here is that we want to break down barriers to understanding and adopting AI. Our mission remains education first. We want to foster innovation, and basically we want to build a community with yourselves, which will help drive social impact, but more importantly, probably hopefully every member will be able to know at least 10 other members well, and we'll form a network. And as members, we'll be able to drive change and also monetize it in suitable measure. So the intent is to enable that, right? As a democratic organization, it's a meritocracy. So anyone has great ideas, please kind of just mention and you can jump on the bandwagon. We got a lot of materials, things like video.agentics.org. I would totally recommend if anyone has not seen it, ask any questions from the last 2 years of video. You could learn a lot about Agentics from this particular application itself. So video.agentics.org. Then we have forming a community, which is community.agentics.org. We are trying to do lots of training, accreditation here. It's a work in progress. But again, feel free to register, have a look. If you want to contribute, please contribute. And last but not least, this is the London chapter membership form, which I need to find a way of putting on the chat, which I seem to be struggling at the moment, so I'll do it later on. We are just trying to get to know the members better at an individual level. Our intent is that we should know at least 10 other members pretty well at a personal level, so we can form a community which is credible. So please fill up. And if you would like to be featured in our member space, so we have recently launched our London chapter page. Some of the members wanted to be featured, so they are featured here. So if you'd like to be featured, you are please welcome to fill up the form and indicate your consent. On that note, I will pause and hand over to Ben's. Basically, Ben's probably you want to talk about the agenda for today, and then we can get started with more fun stuff.
All right, thanks, Monreep. The problem is that the voice on the live stream is not going out. Maybe it's just mine can be heard, but yeah, this is why it's, we are doing the first time. And the window that we are sharing is, you are sharing your WhatsApp right now.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what has gone on here.
Yeah.
Was I sharing the screen before, or was it playing up? I was sharing the screen, right? So I will stop sharing now. It is playing up a little bit. How do I stop share? It's not allowing me to stop share. I don't know if it is you. You have the permissions to stop share? I see.
I'm gonna share mine.
I have no option to stop share. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yeah, so if you click the share, it will unshare, I think.
Okay, I'll try that, but it doesn't seem to be working. No, so
I
maybe
stopped it now, so I'm sharing my terminal window.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
lovely.
Good? Yeah,
so
the Zoom is a problem.
Over to you.
Yeah, so the agenda, let's see. So we have already over the first point, the introduction, and we're gonna build something with Ruben's Cloud Flow library. So it will be, I can hear my voice, sorry, through YouTube, and I can't mute it. Anyway, I'm trying to speak clearly that we're gonna start some agentic app builds, and while we are presenting, we're gonna, the swarm will build these applications in the background, and then the end, after 60 or 50 minutes, we go back and we're gonna check what the swarms did for us. It's completely automatic. So feel free to give us a nudge. What do you want to build? We have ideas what to build actually, so we are prepared. But if somebody has an idea what kind of application to build, please reach out. I mean, on a chat or voice, please tell us some ideas. And then we got two guests. Dinis will present a fantastic system, and maybe Rocky will be presenting his pretty innovative idea, a 5-year business plan completely built by Cloud Code, which usually costs about 20,000 pounds. Cloud Code built it for free, and it's much better quality than an average consultancy would have done it. And in the end, as I said, we can have some really free conversations and questions. So it will be a little bit complicated at some point, but always interrupt us on the chat window if you don't understand the processes. And we're gonna have a look at getting rid of a little bit of Claude Code Anthropic models, but we stay inside Anthropic, and we're gonna use GPT-5. We can use open source models, anything which OpenRouter and Requesty offers. So it's pretty exciting.
On that note, I will go headlong into it, but I just wanted to just again briefly share my screen and say that it seems like most of us have experience. So I think you can see my screen now probably again. So looks like
I can see.
Almost everyone probably have a level of understanding of Agentics AI and ThoughtFlow, which is great. So it will be exciting and interactive. If you could also please kind of fill up the other two, is like, what do you want to achieve at the end of the remaining 50 or 49 minutes? And also, effectively, any ideas anyone has, what do you want to build? We have got ideas, we're going to kick off, but if you have some ideas, we will help you get started as well if you have not done that before. So please fill this up.
Just one, at the moment, it says, please wait for the presenter to change slides. So I don't see, I only saw that first question.
On the Menti
Menti stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
what about now? Do you see it now? I have gone to the second slide now.
on
I'm
Menti,
yeah,
on the
I'm
Menti link. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning as well, so apologies. If it doesn't work, we're not going to waste time here. I think whilst we wait for your responses, feel free to put it on the Zoom chat as well, like what do you want to achieve by the end of today's session? And also, if you have any ideas to build today, put it on the chat if Menti is not working. But at this note, maybe, Benz, we hand over to Dennis for the first member spotlight. Dennis, probably would 5-10 minutes be okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely.
As long as you can give me.
All right.
So, yeah, let me just quickly put it my slides, right? And basically, what I kind of want to just quickly talk about, right, is I did this presentation recently, and there's the videos online for a bit longer, and basically is, you know, again, like, you know, like I'm actually, I call it like, I want to talk about MCP security, right? Because I think, you know, it's an important topic, right? Although, you know, I am full on here, right? I'm basically, if you guys can see my slides, right? You can see the slides?
Yes, we can
Right.
see there's a different tab which we have to click for those who are not familiar, but yes, we can see
Yeah,
your
you
screen.
can see the 4 startups, right? Stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, very quickly, like I came from a developer background. I'm from the Spectrum generation and the Amiga. I've done security. I was a CISO up until very recently, and I'm full on into Gen AI now. I'm working on 4 startups. Everything I do is open source. I'm building a bunch of open source projects, which I, you know, maybe I should cover that next time because I think they provide a lot of foundations. And this is the stuff I've been working on: Cyber Boardroom, my feeds, and 2 stealth startups. Which I'll cover a bit later on, you know, other topics. What I want to talk quickly about is, by the way, everything I'm going to say here, it looks like I'm basically maybe putting a bit down on MCP, but actually I think MCP is pretty cool, very amazing. In fact, there's a lot of capabilities, and you know, but it's a pretty crazy thing, right? And I want to look very quickly about this. MCP is an API. You guys know this, right? And when I was doing this, I kind of came up with this interesting analysis, which is I think MCP is what the Swagger guys. These guys here, should remember that, and for the old enough, remember the WSDL, right?
Yeah.
If they saw this amazing presentation by Brett Victor, which I highly recommend, and Brett Victor is amazing, right? You know, not just the inventing on principle. This is a great presentation where he talks about API should negotiate and talk to each other, which is kind of what we want. So they basically ask these questions. Hey, what if the API was dynamic and fluid? What if the clients were able to dynamically load the APIs? What if the server was able to communicate back and forward? What if the API was able to change definition? And this is all great, right? And amazing features from a development point of view. But I think on the agent world, this can be quite dangerous. And I still feel that there's a space for agents in the swarm world. I think, Ruben, you guys are doing, but more in the real world, right? At least some of the practices, some of the activities you want, not to say that the swarms are not real world, but in others, I actually don't think we want agents the way you describe it right now. I think we need much more contained, very well mapped agents that actually, perform very specific workflows, right? Especially because now we're dealing with this kind of stuff, right? And then they really didn't ask what can go wrong with this, right? So very quickly, MCP allows you to have this client, server, host. You guys know this stuff. The client asks you what you want to do. The server can communicate, but also the server can talk back to the client, which I thought, the more I looked into this, the more I was going like, man, this is so ripe for abuse. That's not funny, right? The client literally can ask what you support, which is great, which, by the way, this is the first blind spot, right? Because you can do all sorts of injections already here. And then the server tells this what I want, and you talk to each other. And then, but there's also this very interesting server to client communications, which I think is very, very dangerous, right? Again, very powerful, right? But you need to be aware of this because, again, you want to make sure that your systems survive the real world and don't get exploited left, right, and center, right? Which they're starting to be by now, right? So this is one of the things that is very interesting, but it's also ridiculously dangerous. And I actually think there's a lot of very interesting innovation to be done here, which is just even in the first step of how do you know which tool to call, right? Because, you can either give it to all the tools, but that doesn't really scale. So this is the first part. And by the way, there's strings everywhere, right? And these days I ban strings from my code base, right? So you can see you mix all this stuff. Basically, you got this, you got that, you got that. And in a way, the point of an agent is to be able to do all these things, right? The problem is that there's prompt injection left, right, and center here, right? And then there's resources and prompts. This is just a way to then go, hey, can you do a query for me? And then there's these really powerful but crazy dangerous features, which is the server can actually talk back to the client, right? I.e., can you LLM this for me? Can you ask the user this, or can you log this at your end, right? All of them are, dangerous situations, right? So again, if you're aware of it, then you can protect against it, right? Yeah, what can go wrong with this stuff, right? But then, this is just some workflows. You guys don't need to, this, that, right? What I think is interesting is this, right? And what I was just showing here was that the idea of a request, and sometimes I think we miss a little bit this on some of the conversations, is that the prompt contains everything, right? And sometimes this gets a bit hidden, but your prompt, usually when it gets sent, contains the first question, the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. Although, yes, this can be exponential. It does. So the way the LLMs does is they compress some of this stuff, right? So after a while, you get some compression going on, but your prompt still has all the stuff on it, or a lot of it. And this is part of the problem when you look at MCPs, because the problem is strings, right? And by the way, I ban strings now from my code base, and I recommend you guys to kind of do the same thing, right? Because a string is a freaking gigantic thing, right? Of 4 gigabytes or more, right? Of all sorts of characters, right? So I use stuff like this in my Python code, which is strongly typed strings. So a more accurate view is this. So everything read here is potential injection, right? And then when you look at MCP world, what happens is the host goes to the servers and go, hey, dude, what you got? We get a list of stuff, right? And then they get all these list of tools. So basically, if you look at this loop, this is just the MCP host booting up and then get a nice list of the tools. And then, which is basically they can handle these flows. And then this is what happens, right? You get an instruction that basically the host then goes and figure out what to do. This is, again, is very dangerous, picks the right tool, makes the call, and then figure out, are we done yet? Loops and loops and loops, and does these things, right? The problem with this, right, is every one of these places is a place for prompt injection. And I don't know if you guys seen recently, people have been putting prompt injections in all sorts of places, Google Docs, DNS records, web pages, responses, all sorts of places, right? So I think this is really interesting. The problem is that we really need to beef up our infrastructure, right, in order so that this is not a problem, right? Because there's some exploit paths here, which is I call this, can you LLM for this? So you can, this is the server to the client, right? You can attack the user directly because you can ask the user questions, again, very dangerous. And can you inject logs into the client stuff, which is, again, another place for indirect. In fact, this can even have prompt injections on the admin interface, which is very powerful, right? And this is the crazy feature, right? The LLMs can actually change the definition on the fly, which basically means that if you don't log everything, like I was mentioning a second, you have no idea to even be able to reverse engineer what the hell just happened, right? After the fact, right? So the problem to defend is, and this is what I think there needs to be a lot of innovation. And I actually think each of these it could be a separate company, or it could actually be an API workflow. And I actually think that even the swarms, they handle some of this, but I think we need to improve these capabilities, which is we need to log everything, post data. We really don't have good identity access management for our agents. We really need better identities. We don't have solution for prompt injection. OS has massive gaps. Most databases don't have integrity and transaction, and that's a shit show left, right, and center, and we still don't know how it works. Apart from that, right, it's what can go wrong, right? But that's what I think I really want you guys to think about. And the way I handle this is using semantic graphs and creating state flows and basically, in a way, limiting a lot what the LLM can do. And in a way, what I like about the swarm stuff is I like this idea of evolving, going very wide and then going very slow, right? Very small. I like this idea that you can start with very wide LLMs that show you the art of the possible, and then you experiment, and then you start to have smaller models. Some of the stuff that, again, Ruben is doing with custom models, like unique, temporary, they are interesting, but I like my models to be all customized, and eventually you might even arrive at code that does that, or you have very limited places where you use the LLMs. So that's kind of my approach, right? It's about making stuff deterministic, and some of these things, you know, you just can't control at the moment. And I still feel that the way we should really be controlling a lot of this is through identity access management, so that you almost have real-time identities, real-time privileges, so that even when the stuff goes over the place, the actual agents cannot do this. And I think we get this right, and then the agents will be a lot more successful because there's a lot less areas for damage. And that's kind of it, right? So nice. You know, let's accelerate.
Thank you, Dennis. I think great. I think I'm basically requesting the members, if you have any questions on what we have heard, please feel free to drop them on the chat. I guess what we'll do is that we'll quickly move on to the build before we go to the next member spotlight. And then there have been a number of great ideas on the chat, so you could follow along. In the interest of time, what I'm proposing, and am I okay to share my screen again?
Yeah, you are sharing a screen now.
Am I showing my screen? Okay. It's a bit confusing what is happening here. Okay.
I can't see your screen when we.
You can see my screen. You can see my screen.
I can't. It's nothing.
I can. London Agentics Meetup.
Ah, right. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Apologies. Yeah,
lovely. So I was driving my son to his tuition lessons this morning, and I realized that I went too much in a hurry, and I did not set up my navigation on my Tesla, right? And then what happened, by the time I set up the direction, I realized I was already on a route that had a lot of traffic. So I waited in the traffic for 20 minutes. So I said, and I thought, like, I was thinking, like, what do we build today? So I said, well, maybe this is a good use case. So could we have an app that I could just specify the destination as I get ready to leave home? And it goes about and looks at traffic information from public sources and recommends the route I should avoid, right? So I said, you can mock up data, maps, traffic, geolocations. Just help me demonstrate this idea in the spirit of building is the new talking motto, which I'm trying to kind of socialize. And we've got this session today. I want a PRD. So this is Ravi, back to your question, how I approach it. That will help me use the AI system to create a realistic application. So I just use Gemini here, right? So we say created a plan, and I have a PRD here, which talks about, interestingly, it gives the problem like unpredictability of the familiar journey, lots of stuff. I will open source this so you can have a look. And interestingly, it also creates a vision, I mean, which is expected, but it creates some persona, which is interesting. I never asked it to create a persona, which is basically Alex, tech-savvy parent, basically Chloe, the hybrid professionals, lots of frustrations about last mile problem, etc., etc. And then tuition run, it picked that up. So what I've now done, and is just a very quick question. I've got two instances here just to show you how to get set up. I have set up one properly, which is, does anyone not know here how to set up Cloudflow and Claude? Is there anyone here who doesn't know that?
I could see in the comments that there was a couple of people who don't know. I think it'd be great to.
Okay, we will do that. We will time box that to 3 minutes to show that. So first and foremost, guys, go to Google and search for Cloudflow. You will come to this code base here. I'm presuming everyone here has used GitHub or Codespaces, or is there anyone who hasn't used GitHub and Codespaces? Assuming if you haven't, just reach out to us. We will show you later on. But assuming you have, I have created a Codespace here, which is, this is the proper one. This is the improper one. I'm on the Codespace here on the main directory. And so basically it's a temporary cloud infrastructure. I'm going to copy this command. What I'm doing is that I'm asking Cloud Code from Anthropic to be installed in my Codespaces. One thing to call out, it is preferable, you can use Cloud Code on your local laptop, but there is something called Cloudflow, which especially if you're using swarms, you should not use on your local laptop. It's not recommended. You can, but it's not recommended because we, as I think Dennis was saying, we still don't fully understand how some of this works. and they can go against your instructions, so it could damage your laptop. So preferable to do it in a safe location, which is a code space which you can throw away.
Yeah, I will remove preferable from that word.
Now, now, please don't be alarmed when I say dangerously skip permissions. It basically, I don't want to keep pressing the yes button all the time. It's okay. It's a temporary space. So I'm going to just say Claude. I've installed Claude code here, and I'm going to invoke Claude now. So it's installed on my code space here. When I do that, something will pop up saying, how do you want your interface to look like? I'm just going to select default. And it says Claude account with subscription. I do have an account, or you can use your API billing, one of these two options. I'm just going to go for that. Now, the thing is that I'm logged in as my personal email address, and my account is on my other Gmail account, which is my company account, right? So there's a problem. When I copy paste, it goes to localhost and it doesn't work, which you'll see. It happens. I don't know why this happens. So I close the window and I go back to my main one and I copy that again. And if someone can help me why this happens, I would be grateful, because I don't understand why this happens. Sometimes it doesn't work for 3-4 times, then it starts working. Sometimes it works in 2 times. It just worked, you see, and I don't understand why this works. So I just copy
That's the
paste.
beauty on software development, that these are the mysteries.
Yes, and I press that. So I'm logged into my subscription and I press enter and I said, Claude can is general warning. Fine, no problem. Use recommended settings. And I said, because you remember I said dangerously skip permissions, it's confirming. I said, no problem, I'm happy. There it is. Now I'm going to open another terminal here. And all I'm going to do is copy paste. I'm going to install the latest version of Roof's Claude Flow. Okay, so I'm going there and I'm pasting that and running it. Now you'll see lots of files are going to get created on the left-hand side. Okay to proceed? Yes. So what this is doing, what Claude Flow really is, again, is it's got some commands to make lots of agents spawn and do work in a very coordinated fashion. And you can please feel free. I have created a tutorial on it. If anyone is interested, it's work in progress. So please provide feedback and help improve it. If you go to my repository, which is github.com Monterey Spark Evolution, just go through the README file is broadly up to date. So there are some courses I have tried to create by interrogating the repository of Claude Flow. So please have a look. Tell me it is good. If you are better than me, because I'm learning as well, help me improve it, right? So that's the ask. Now, you see all these files have been, I don't need this one. So this is the proper one that I had. This is the improper one I said, but you see all of these new files got created here. Yeah, this is how we get started. From here on, we can actually, we'll create something. So before I go to that, what I had also done is, you know, the deep research we did, I converted that into an MD file, and that MD file is here. And what I'm doing here is I'm saying, I want to build an application live along the lines of the requirements in that document. So use the @ symbol, like here. If I can't go up, I can just show you probably very quickly by going down there. Again, sorry if I'm repeating, I'm just trying to keep it very basic because some people may not have seen it. So what did I do? Oh, yeah, that's fine. So if I remove that, you see, when I use @ and I say PRD, it detects that. And I say, just press enter. We have around 40 minutes to complete the exercise. It is meant to educate and at the same time build something that is realistic and can be trialed or assessed using my laptop here. What should I use? The reason I asked that question is for a reason, is that if you go back to the Claude Flow, there are 2 ways we can do things. One is called the swarm mode. The other one is the hive mind command, which means you have a queen agent which coordinates in hive mind for more complex issues. So I'm saying, you know what? I'm just going to ask Claude. I'm lazy. And I'm going to just ask Claude, what should I do? So you said you should synthesize test-driven development approach. So again, test-driven development approach, I think those of us who have been development, I think we all know developers in the past or currently, the TDD is recommended. There are 2 schools, the London School and Detroit School, as I learned from Roof. The London School means you write all test cases first before you write a single line of code. Sometimes it doesn't work here. That needs to be investigated why. But there's a file called claude.md here. So this claude.md file, you can modify. I'm just using the out of the box file. And this is basically a secret sauce. This tells AI how it should work. So the rules are defined here. There is another course that I had shown you before, which actually explains to you about Claude Flow. So you can go through this course and kind of give feedback. Now, all I'm going to do is press the enter button now, saying I would also want you to document. Yeah, I also said you should synthesize, etc., etc. I would also want you to document how the different agents work together to build the product. That is necessary so that the audience can look at the file and understand the process better later on, right? So if I press enter here, and agree up here, we will wait. Let's see what it is. Discombobulating. I don't know what that means. And we'll give 5 minutes, and then we will switch across to the next member spotlight. It'll build on its own, but I want to get that process started with yourself. It says, I will use a swarm approach as it is more suitable for rapid coordinated development with clear agent roles. So now it is going to create a comprehensive development plan using multiple specialized agents working in parallel. So we'll give it another few minutes. So that's the to-do list. That's the plan. You see, it'll create a topology, whether it's hierarchical or star or circular or ring, I think that is called. It'll determine. So it's going to initialize a swarm with specialized agents and set up the project structure. So it's doing the work. And the reason this is happening on its own is I said dangerously skip permissions. Otherwise, I would have to keep pressing the yes button every time. So I'm not doing that.
One of the things that I think is important to clarify here, right, is that, and this is where I use the Worldly Maps reference, right, of explorers, villagers, and town planners. What I think is super amazing on this approach is that this is about exploring the art of the possible, right? This is not about creating a production-ready material. This is not what Town Planners does, right? This is in the early days of Genesis and custom build. What we can now do is use this experiment, let these swarms go out, experiment, do all sorts of stuff. So in the end, you get a really good, solid solution. And I think that's when you then, once you have that solution, that's when you need to hand over to another workflow, where then is about locking down that functionality. So in a weird way, here is where we can afford to be highly insecure, highly experimental. Failure here is a feature of this solution, right? And the swarms just allow that to occur in a much more interesting and effective and iterative way.
That's excellent. I think that's a great product idea, actually, that you just said, Dennis. This is like proper adoption of this into an enterprise system, right? So right from ideation to, yeah.
And if you guys read about the Worldly Maps, what's interesting about, and Simon Worley is an amazing guy, but he does definitely have these interesting concepts of you do need to hand over because they are different focus, right? And I think one of the problems we're having at the moment with a lot of these conversations is both ends are good, but they're looking at it from the wrong side. This allows us to create very effective solutions, but this is not the production stuff. On the other hand, the production stuff, right, we'll look at this and going, that's not how you create things. You go, no, but this is how you then hand over, right, to the next generation, well, not generation, next sort of individual or group who will then really lock this down and make into a product and eventually make into a commodity, right?
Excellent. So what we're going to do is that it is going to work. So instead of looking at the screen, I guess, again, I guess if Benz, you can stop my screen share, maybe we move to yourself for the next spotlight. Is Rocky here? Just checking. Rocky, are you here? I will message Rocky.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Rocky, do you want to go for between you and Benz, whoever wants to go first, I guess. Both are
I don't
interesting.
mind really. I don't think I'll take that long.
I've got a problem with this live stream. It's frozen. So the OBS software, what we are looking at now, for the first time, is not working at all.
It's okay. We are recording this session anyways, right? This is recorded, isn't it? So we will do something about it. Let's not bother with that. I think the people who are here, that's great. So Rocky, over to you.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just.
If you want to give a 30-second introduction about what you are. So Dinesh, sorry, we didn't ask you. Could you give a 15-second introduction of, I think you did, right? At the beginning, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been around doing a bunch of Gen AI startups, and everything I do is open source. So happy to help and contribute. You guys.
Over to you, Rocky.
But I'm not sure this is recording. Sorry, quick one. You show this recording? Zoom doesn't say it's recording.
No, it said on my side. It says recording.
All right.
Yeah, it says. Yeah. I hope so.
All right. Cool. All right. Good.
Shall I get going?
Yes, please, Rocky.
Right. Okay. Hi, I'm joining you from the beach right now.
Oh, it's a real beach.
No, this is like a Zoom sort of, I don't know how to turn it off. I don't usually use Zoom. I'm actually in the car right now, so it's better than that view, I suppose. So yeah, I'll introduce myself. I'm CEO of a company called Capability. I just started this company last year, and I'm sort of into advanced manufacturing. And for people who don't really know, around advanced manufacturing is cyber physical systems in manufacturing is how I kind of describe it. So when you see things like 3D printing, multi-axis machining, 3D inspection metrology, digital twins, robotics, AI in shop floor, you name it, it's about the synthesis of all this technology together in order to create value, human value, right, and symbolic value. But I started my own company last year to focus on the trend of reshoring, the fact that we struggle as human societies to really translate technology from R&D into commercial viability and scale up, right? Is what people call it. Different sort of industries use different terminology. I call it the valley of death. And yeah, and then I got involved with the Agentics Foundation through Roov, and that was in January, I think. I don't know how I managed to get involved. I used to do some beta testing for OpenAI. I was asked to be a business fellow for Perplexity last year. So maybe just through some LinkedIn chat, I saw him, followed him, joined the brigade in January, February time. So that's sort of my involvement with the sort of program, I suppose. Is that good enough for you, Mandeep, for an intro?
Perfect. Perfect, yeah. Perfect, Rocky.
You got to keep me in check, you know.
I'm going to then put my timer on. You have got, well, we've got 10 minutes. I mean, I hope I think we'll go over a little bit. If you know, feel free to drop off or stay back. We'll not rush it, right? We have first time, so over to you, Rocky. Yeah.
Well, I'll just share what I've been working on. I don't really share much. I'm not a sharer on social media. I'm old school, I suppose.
Sharing is caring, Rocky.
Well, a lot of my sharing is face to face through, you know, phone calls, word of mouth sort of thing. I'm not really on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or anything like that, X. So I tend not to sort of do that sort of stuff. But I am getting more into the AI Agentics through Roov as well. Sorry, I'm on my Perplexity. One sec. And I am interested in it because the main issues we're seeing around AI, everyone has a view on AI. My view is it's absolutely a game changer and it's not going away.
Just to ask, can everyone see Rocky's screen?
Yeah, the GitHub one.
Yeah.
AE-N.
All right, lovely.
Yeah, so I just started this last in January or something, my own GitHub. I'm not a coder as such. I do basic sort of macro in Excel. I've never done Python or anything. I tried to do Python coding for my energy usage, and that's about as far as I got. So something like Claude Code coming up on us, you know, and Manus has really been a game changer for me to sort of take from what's in my ideas and create prototypes. But the Claude Flow idea has really sort of sparked a lot of interest for me in that, you know, the ability to have different personas working together and checking each other's work is a really powerful tool. I see absolutely the future being having a team, if not individual AI agents within each team who either represent that team or, you know, interface with the wider organization. So I think this is going to be a huge stepping stone in terms of that. But being a solopreneur, you know, I've gone from a corporate environment where you have a lot of feedback, a lot of people in a lot of departments to engage with just to yourself. So how do you sort of do this in a startup sort of sense, an organization where you can't afford to hire a board of directors and you can't afford to have teams working on you? And that's where I think Agentics and AI with agents really is going to be a huge sort of game changer for us. So the demo I just basically wanted to show you is, like I said, that the big issue is how do you take my idea and put it in front of a VC, put it in front of an investor, a bank, you know, a research organization, And what they always ask for is a business plan, right? But with AI, you get ideas every single day, right, in terms of business plans. So to sort of curate and use an agentic swarm, which can then act as your board and support you with a business case and a business proposal, is actually quite a powerful tool, I feel, right? And that's what I've kind of applied the agentic swarm towards. Do you want me to go through sort of how, or?
Maybe at a very high level, maybe Rocky, just to show, like, because what your LinkedIn post yesterday was really amazing. So I think it'll be great to socialize that. I mean, maybe time limited to 5 minutes, but give us a broad brush overview.
So my approach to the AI now is use every single tool that comes out the box and use it straight away. And that's how I'm kind of learning. So if you come on my PC, I've got Perplexity open, I've got Claude open, I've got ChatGPT still running, you know, I've got Google, I've got like OpenRouter. I literally have everything going on at the same time. So whilst Comet is filling in a form or doing some research for me on something, I've got Claude running code, I've got ChatGPT working on something else, or I'm typing questions to it, and I've got Perplexity doing lab reports for me. So it's just like, totally, that's my team right now, right? And it's saving me full-time engineers. So the way I kind of focused it for this project was, I saw a comment from Ruve, it's always Ruve that triggers the ideas, saying just ask AI, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, right? And I say AI, ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has got an edge on other AIs until just actually recently with Claude, in that it seems to know you very, very well through the fact that it kind of reads your entire history continuously and uses that as context. So I typed that into ChatGPT. It says, this is where I see your company going in 5 years' time. And it was just really sort of brilliant, right, in terms of how it kind of forecasts a journey for your own company. So then I said, okay, let's work on this and create, you know, a multi-year plan. We did that. And then I said, okay, now I'm working with Claude Flow. Let's create a board pack using a swarm of agents to do that, right, for me in order to create that board pack. So I got actually ChatGPT, where am I? Here we go, to create basically my Claude MD file, not necessarily Roof's yet, because I haven't got that far yet to use Claude, Roof's Claude Flow. And it took out everything that it knew about me and my company based on previous chats and transcripts. And it basically created, firstly, what my mission was for the Claude MD. It created a board for me based on my chat history. It created files based on the source data of what it knew about my company, doing its own due diligence. And I was very explicit saying there may be information that you don't actually have, and this is where you have to now use RAG, and you have to go and use and find out that information using the swarm where there's gaps in the information. And then it built my, if you can read, then it built my agentic swarm, right? Which were these personas. So planner, orchestrator, financial monitor, GTM, enterprise architect, strategist, etc., right? So you copy all that, put it into your Claude MD file, also put in your source data in terms of what my financials are of the company, where I am as an individual, where I think my business case is going, what I'm trying to do, you know, etc., which already ChatGPT knew about me. And then it overall created my business case for me and business proposal. Do you want to see a bit of that? I mean,
yes, please.
So I made it private because there's a lot of private information in here. But what I've noticed about it is that I was expecting it to fall over, right? And just have so much spurious data, so much stuff that's just not relevant, missing gaps in information. I know Ruth did a demo about some trading agents, and then he was doing the demo and he was like opening folders and the folders were empty. But I think because ChatGPT supported me in terms of the MD file and also the specific prompt to put into Claude, there was literally no folder and no part of the business case that was left untouched and checked over, right? And also it was RAG'd. and you can see next time I'm going to ask for some extra traceability, but it basically created an entire business case end to end for me, right? So executive summary, market problem, what's the solution, what's my funding strategy, what do I need to do based on where I am today, what are the actual financial models, you know, so if I just open that, you'd expect it to be empty, but it's not. It's all full. It's full of actual relevant information, realistic numbers. You know, it goes on and on and on, right? So you think, okay, well, maybe there's something that is missing out. What about an implementation roadmap? And it's all there. Yeah. How do I go from 48K revenue, which is where I am today on a single client, to a growth path, and step by step how to do that, right? And that's really massively powerful for someone like me right now.
Sorry,
I could go on and on.
can I just make a small comment? The thing that's ridiculously powerful about this is that when you create this, you still review everything, right? You
Yeah.
still read everything.
You
The
have
difference, so in a way, this is still your work. This is still your words. What you've done
Absolutely.
was you steered the LLMs to say, here is the path. You know, there's 50 different paths you can go. That's the one I want to go. And
Absolutely.
it just makes you ridiculously more effective, right?
Yeah.
And also it has the advantage that now as you progress on your path, you can just go to the LLM and say, hey, can you just update this based on the latest stuff? So the overhead of creating this is now ridiculously short.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the key. And also what I found is like, you also have like no psychological dependency on the pain to create this, which basically means that if somebody says, hey, can you do it like this? And can you change it like this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, like, dude, I just spent freaking a week
Yeah.
writing this shit.
Months.
I'm
Yeah.
not
You
going
could
to
have spent
fucking
months
change it.
and put so much effort into it and
Exactly, right?
tears. Yeah.
That's the key, I think, that some people
Yeah.
miss, is the fact that you've decoupled almost like your ownership of this. This is just a physical, almost like one representation of your ideas that you will change and modify and slice without any emotional attachment to it.
Absolutely. Really. You hit
Can
it on
I
the head.
ask you a question, Rocky?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
What's interesting? I want to think of where you started from, where you said, I believe you said that people can. You don't. You're an individual sitting in your car right now, but you came from a corporation, and now you can, as an individual, have much more leverage because you have AI, essentially. Just to paraphrase.
Absolutely. So the thing I always used to say when I started the company, and I seek them out through just people mentoring me, is you do lose that kind of independent mentorship in the board, right? And you miss that, that motivation of the board, motivation of your peers to kind of say you need to deliver not just for yourself, for the company, right? It's one thing to have your wife and kids saying when you're going to pay the mortgage, but it doesn't really frame your business very well. It just panics your business. So to have sort of a board, which is your own chosen board at the point actually of starting a company, not waiting for 10 years down the road where you can afford one, is just massively powerful. It's massively
And
powerful.
do you think that, so looking at the screen right now, I'm seeing hiring. I'm seeing a lot of things that, to me, actually are anti. So there's not say anti, but anti AI, because it seems like to have created you more of an old world business plan. Do you think that's the case? I'm only just reading the screen, so I'm not.
Yeah, I think organizations are going to exist. They might just not be as big as they used to be. Because you just don't need that many.
No.
And the size grows inefficiency. So I don't think that I'm never, I can't run. Look at it. I'm running Comet. I'm running Perplexity. I'm running 5 different AIs in one go. That should be 5 people. You can't humanly do that unless you're an octopus, right? So I can't see myself not having specific roles and people running departments in the future. Yeah, those departments just may be smaller.
I completely agree, right? I think what we'll see, first of all, I think we're going to need more developers, not less, right? And also think that we will see a lot more smaller teams and teams that have basically almost an ability to operate at a level that today will be impossible, right?
Absolutely.
In the
And the
past,
speed. Yeah.
Dude, if you went to a team and you said, like in my cyber teams, right? If I went to them and says, hey guys, before you do anything, I want a risk assessment, I want a P&L, I want a project management, I want structure, I want documentation, I want this, they'll go F you, right? Because they wouldn't do it, right? And they couldn't do it because they didn't have time. Now we can. So I think our ability to create multidisciplinary teams, and I completely relate to that, the ability to bounce off ideas to multiple personas is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, I suppose, just to bounce off that a bit, is that my first involvement with generative AI was before chatbots and LLM AI, because we did a lot of generative design in AI for actually manufacturing. And what happened was the opposite effect. You think you're using an efficiency tool. So you say, hey, all I need to do is give my software my requirements and it's going to generate the geometry for the product for me. I mean, how brilliant is that? Yeah. So if I want to design a screwdriver, you just give those functional requirements to the software. It does all the FEA, it does all the material selection, it does all the manufacturing method, and it gives you a design. But it doesn't give you one design, right? It gives you 30 to 50 designs. Yeah. So now your problem has actually gone, your bottlenecks has moved right to the human, which says now I've got 50 designs, different manufacturing methods, different cost models, different materials, different geometries. Now, instead of validating and pushing one through my whole new product introduction process, I could have 30 products I need to validate in one go. Right?
Yeah, but now we can experiment. And I think that's the power. The
And then you
power is
have
that
to
what you can
change your
now
game.
do, is you can experiment those 30 very fast with a low cost, and then find the one that actually take to the next phase. And then you could also experiment on that.
It's a total change of the game.
By
But
the way,
the labor goes up. It just moves. It moves. The labor moves. Yeah.
But by the way, the way I've done this, which is so you've done almost the way I say, go and do me everything. The way I've done this same business plan, which I put on the links, is I created voice memos of every area of the business plan, and then I give it to ChatGPT and Claude, and I created almost every document of the investor pack. And only when I have every single document, multiple iterations, is I created the business plan. So I found that by the time I got to make the business plan, it was actually using my own ideas, my own references on the marketing strategy, the technology strategy, the hiring, the people, etc., the financials, blah, 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 right? And I found that quite an interesting way. It's almost like you do a brain dump, but on the end of every brain dump, you have these ridiculous, well-written documents.
Really, it's just, the world's your oyster. So that's it, Mondri.
Thank you. I think I learned. I think I'm gonna probably trial this actually. This is inspiring.
Well, if you want to go, I'll help you out. Don't worry about it. I'll show you how to do it. Because it's just relevant to me, and I'll show you how to set it up. One thing I did notice actually, which just sort of to allude to, is I was actually at Google with Theobald from Voice AI, and I think that's the next thing coming, believe it or not. So they were demoing voice agents, but having basically 5 or 6 in a room, right? And having conversation with multiple AIs in parallel seamlessly. Yeah. Imagine that. So like now, instead of the next phase will be, I should be able to plug this straight into the voice AI agents, and they will grill me and ask me questions. Yeah. Saying, here's your checklist. Where are you? Yeah. Where are you on your milestones? What's happening? What's your excuses for not doing stuff? And I think that's really coming very quickly,
By the way, that's one of the problems I'm trying to solve with the cyber boardroom, which is talking to multiple personas, but also to communicate upwards, sideways, and downwards with multiple personas. And the persona is not just a person, it's the person, the culture, their role, their task, what they want to do, right? And I found some very powerful cases like you talk about, where having a persona, you want to present something and then seeing what would this persona react to my information.
Yeah.
And suddenly you start to realize that if you want to communicate, for example, with board members or executives or your peers, etc., you need almost to have highly personalized, focused message to each one.
Yeah.
And again, now we scale that, where in the past we didn't.
Yeah. And actually personas like that, the voice AI demos, actually suit this sort of view, because in boards, people don't say very much, right?
Yeah.
So you do the talking first, and then that's where it suits. Whereas I don't think you're going to get this cacophony of voices at the same time.
But then you use semantic knowledge graphs to capture that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I get deterministic and provenance.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the future.
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully that's enough for you.
Yes, thank you. Again, everyone, please leave your questions, comments on the chat. We will act after the meeting. Let's have a look at what we are doing, what's happening with our swarm. So I am sharing my screen, but it's not showing up here. Can others see my screen?
You're not sharing. I think we're still seeing the
No.
previous screen.
You can switch the tab on Zoom.
Oh,
top.
they've introduced this new feature. There are tabs on the top of the
Yeah.
Zoom.
So you can switch between Rocky's and yours.
You're right. There you go.
Yeah, that's why I got confused. And by the way, Benz, I think in LinkedIn, I saw it, all people sees my top half of my face. So maybe we are sharing the wrong, pinning the wrong screen on the share
Yeah,
thing.
I was aware of I was aware of that this is a OBS limitation. I adjusted now, so it's not cropped anymore.
Okay.
But there was a lot of technical problems.
Okay. So, okay, no problem. You have got technical. So a lot of work still ongoing, by the way. It's not completed. So I will let it continue. It's still working. It's consumed 1.6K tokens at the moment. And what has it done? Last time I looked, there were a bit more information. So obviously lots of files and testing just has been configured. So the TDD has been applied. I saw that before, but it's disappeared now from the view. So it's still working. So we will let it work. Now over to you, Benz. Arno, I noticed you haven't used code spaces before. So towards the end of the call, if we have time, we'll quickly show you how to set up a code space. So I made a note of that. So Benz, over to you.
Yeah, I've got a question. How do you make these files off local again when you finished with code spaces? Because this is being deleted after a while, after a week or two.
Which files?
That swarm create.
So this is what I will do. Because I initiated it from within GitHub, the code space was started from within GitHub. I'm already connected to Git. So what I'm going to do, I've got a git ignore file already. So I'm presuming I'm just going to upload. At the moment, there's nothing confidential, but obviously people have to check. I'm going to add to Git, basically git commit, checkpoint commit, spelling wrong, checkpoint commit. Sorry, git -m, right?
Yep.
So I forgot about that.
Yeah. So basically, the
-m.
answer is you push it to GitHub, right?
Yeah, and then git
the right
push.
thing to do.
So
Yeah,
it is going over to git push here, compressing done. So here, if we go into my GitHub, there was nothing here before.
Yeah.
There should be something here now. There we go. Right. So now you can download actually. So I'm going to stop sharing. Benz, over to you.
All right, thanks. So I'm going to give a little bit of context. If I find the share button now, here, here we go. And I'm going to only share my terminal window. So just we are very focused on that. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so
Love the old school green on black.
Yeah, I love that matrix kind of thing. So I'm going to create a new directory. Sorry. And if you've tried out Claude Code, it's working with anthropic models. I show you now the list of models, very important. So I gave access to the folder. So use type model /model, and you see that we've got Opus, which is a very expensive model. So you have 1 or 2 hours a day, and then it goes to Sonnet. But you can stick with Sonnet if you want to save or if you want to consistency. But what happens if Anthropic has a problem? They've got a lot of problems and quality degradation in the last few weeks. But you might say that, okay, I want to try out some different models. I want to see how GPT-5 is doing, how the Chinese models and so on. And that's where when you need to start using some routers, and routers are supported by this system. So Anthropic allows you to get rid of the factory models and try something new. So you say exit, and you need to install. We're gonna share the link later and send to everybody or the participants. And it's an npm instruction, so it's very easy to install one line, and then you have a kind of a running. Is it called library? I don't even know was the CLI was the official term, but you can start this with CCR. This is called Cloud Code Router. That's why CCR start. And it starts as a server. So at this point, when it's running, you need to open a new terminal window. I hope you can still see it. And you say,
No,
don't
I think we're seeing the
I
previous
only see
one.
the original window.
previous. Okay. Let me share the new one. And you say, sorry, I need to cheat a little bit. CCR start. Sorry, no, Cloud Code actually. It has been recently changed from Cloud. There was another instruction how to launch, but now you can see that this is a different now. So we are using the router. The steps are the same. So it welcomes us that Cloud Code it's running already. But if you look at the model list, exactly the same step what we did before, you will see different models. Some, I don't know why, but it's not loading for me. I spent like 5 hours today to prepare this, but it's not showing up. I don't know why. But as a fifth or sixth option, you can see the models here. But I show you the method. Once you manage to set it up, you say model again, and you type in the provider. It can be Gemini, it can be DeepSeek, and / the version of the model. So this is the format. So I switch over to GPT-5. Let's see if I manage this. I think it's not working now. But the steps are exactly the same. It's got its changes to GPT-5, and it confirms that the model switch has been happening, and anytime you can switch back. So let's say you invest 1 or 2 minutes to set this up. You are able to use open source models, locally run models. You can download the GPT OSS and run it via LM Studio or Llama and so on. If you have a heavy laptop or an advanced machine, so you are not tied to Anthropic anymore. So that's the Cloud Code router. And you can, it's in beta, but Requesty supports this as well. So you can choose whether you use OpenRouter or Requesty as a vendor, as a wholesaler, and then you can follow all the logs. You can follow your consumption. You can save a lot of money with this, and you have the possibility to use the Chinese models, Quan from Alibaba, and
So
so on.
Benz, quick
Yeah.
question here. So if we do have one of the Cloud Code subscriptions, we'll use a normal way, right? Which is the one I showed. But obviously you're saying if we have an issue and use the other model, so this is the switch, but you use Cloud Code there as well. I was not sure I fully.
I didn't manage to start properly
Okay.
this
Okay.
this system. I practiced all day, but this is the typical. But I show you what I mean on.
We'll do a follow-up. We'll do a follow-up, maybe a quick snippet later on, and then share with the audience.
Yeah. So this is what I wanted to just finally show you just a little bit. Can you see my Requesty
Yes.
tab? So if you set up this router via Requesty, then you see the exact balance. You can see the library. So you can choose from 419 models. And of course, you can use the Anthropic ones, but it doesn't make sense because you have already a subscription to Cloud Code, but you wouldn't want to do this. So it's better to use the most advanced models that are available through Requesty, the GPT-5, the open source OSS, and the Chinese ones, which is very practical. As just the last sentence, that you can see the logs and what's happening under the hood. Every input that you do, it's logged, and you can see the cost of it, and you can see the system prompt, how the system creates your input. So this is something for the technical.
Thank you, Benz. Again, questions, please put on the chat. I know we've gone over our slots, but let's have a look at what is happening on our build. What I've realized, because I particularly prompted it to use test-driven development, it is actually doing that, but it is taking a lot of time because it's writing all the tests. So I'm going to share my screen quickly to show you. So we have lots of tests written, actually, unit tests here, as you can see, traffic monitoring.js. So if I open one of the sample things, so it's written all of this stuff here, and it's working through. So obviously it's hit an error now. It's going to fix the error on its own and continue. So I'm not doing anything.
Do you want to share the screen?
Oh, I am not sharing. Thank you, Ravi, for correcting me. What about now?
Yep.
Is it any better? So I'll repeat whatever I was saying. Because I particularly asked it to do TDD, and things are moving very fast, so I can't scroll up much. It's creating all the test-driven test first, and that's what is taking it such a long time. But it's at work, and as you can see, here is a random, basically test file. It's using jest here. It's writing all the tests here. So once it does that, I think that's where it is going to. It's still working, not working sequentially. It's still working. There's a coordinator here working, and the Spark coder is active, but it's still working, I think, on the TS file here. It's a test file here, right? So you see that's
Mandeep,
where
a few questions, while it's doing its thing. I've seen that, it compacts the conversation at some point.
It does.
And also later on, it can do things like, oh, this test is not passing. I'll skip this test, or I'll change the test so that, it's not going to fail. Things like that. What's your experience? Because I have seen that happening later on. And what is the consistency from an enterprise scenario? What you need is consistency.
So I have had mixed experiences, to be honest, and I'm still learning, right? So I think obviously the experts here, who I think many probably people here actually, please feel free to share your experiences, but have been able to create really sophisticated apps. I'm still on the journey, but with a level of orchestration, I see myself as the orchestrator. So I'm basically monitoring, but I would intervene at some point in time if it is not giving me a desired view. But then it's that relationship, I guess, right? But it does work. So today, for example, I was able to demonstrate something quite interesting, and someone shared an idea with me yesterday at noon. I had not done anything. All I asked the person is that just give me a voice, your transcript. Talk to yourself, give me a transcript. That's all I need. Did the deep research, and we were able to explain something to an exec pretty convincingly. So I think from a prototyping, talking, building is the new talking, that aspect, it is quite mature because you can really get your point across. Your point about enterprise consistency, what Dennis also highlighted, the kind of that narrowing aspect, I think that's something perhaps as a community we could look at to make sure how this becomes much more easy to and consistent. So I believe there's some work to do there. Anyone?
Yeah,
I mean, Chris, what's your views? Sorry, Ravi.
Yeah, my feeling is that the LLM itself is not that important. It is the ability to consistently digest business context is one aspect, and enforcement of like workflow like GitHub, test-driven development, all of that consistently through the process. So when it compacts, obviously that with Claude code, basic Claude code, it's worse than it is with Claude Flow. Because there is a little bit of enforcement built in there. And then you learn like prompting, follow this kind of. Benz has also shared some prompts, in the community in general. So there's, but I think I'm seeking for a teaching perspective, a consistent set of practices, if you like, whether that's prompts or whatever else. Yeah.
We can collaborate on that. So Greenwich University, we are in touch with them for a module starting September. If you are working, I would love to kind of collaborate. I know Brad is also working on a few things there. So let's yeah, I'm going off tangent, but great. But again, members of the community here, did you have like, what are your experiences? Like, please share.
I maybe just talk a little bit to what Ravi was asking. It's Peter here. I think I distinguish between two things. When I see a lot of the Claude Flow elements where people are prototyping, so I agree that you get into scenarios where you're compacting context because you're doing a lot of things. I compare that to how we use it in a real code base. So it's a non-AI code base, and we're using AI to deliver. I would not expect to compact context, and the reason is because if I am, that means I'm delivering too big a task. So if we're doing features, if we're effectively doing lots of incremental change on an existing code base within the context of that existing code base. We want to have the same design patterns. We want to implement the same APIs and the like. So I think there's a very different experience putting it into an inverted commas real code base where you're actually trying to deliver something you'll deliver to production versus running swarms where it's very fluid and you don't really understand what the end result is. And just on the TDD, that's where we sometimes get caught. We have to be very explicit, because change the code and ask it to retest against the TDD or against the tests, and it will revert all the code to meet the tests, so you have to be very explicit to say, I've now changed my code. I want you to go and update the tests because the code is correct and the test is not. So again, you kind of get these cycles of commits, and you just have to then suddenly be aware that actually you have to be very explicit on a commit cycle as to what you want it to do, or else it will try and revert your code back to the historical tests, basically.
Yep.
Okay. I think we should probably evaluate this a little bit more separately. So was it? Sorry, I didn't notice who was speaking. Who was speaking?
Peter.
Sorry, that was Peter. Yeah.
Peter, right? Yeah, I'm making note of. Yeah, I think Ravi, Peter. Let's talk about this. I guess this is almost is progressing. I know it's back in development, is ongoing at the moment. So conscious of time, but I guess it's open to the community. There are a few more questions. I guess if you could leave on the comments, like, how useful was today? Like, if you can say 1 to 10, less than, was it useful today's session? And also probably in future, what would you like to do? And also, like, this is again democratic meritocracy, like anyone, like, we are a community. One thing I would request is just a form, if you kindly fill it up, just so that we know who the community is better. And also, may I request that each one of us, try to know at least 5 other people from the London community, right? So let us know each other better than just like, what is your name kind of thing. And the idea is that we are all at different places. If we see opportunities, because businesses need help, I think especially the SMB businesses need more help. So I guess we are a community, we can pull together to support them. So I know, Colm, you got a hand up, so over to you, please.
Oh, yeah, just a quick one. I'm helping out with the Agentics.org website, creating content, and I'm embarking on a series of fireside chats about just how you think about Agentics. So, and a lot of that was brought up today. Dennis was talking about, about experimentation. This is a space for creating. It's not just about rebuilding SaaS. So if you want to sign up, it's just, if you need to have some experience with Agentic, not necessarily Cloudflow, and would love to start you in for 30 minutes. It'll be on the agentics.org website. The content will be there, known by Agentics. So if that's okay with you, I can post a link.
Yes, please. All right. Please do. Okay, an open forum now. Please leave your comments whether this was valuable, what more in the future on the comments, and it's an open forum. Anyone else, any thoughts, comments, views, critique, anything?
Yeah, it's interesting. Connor Adams kindly offered his office in London. So if we want to build something together, it's very efficient when we physically meet.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor.
Yes, please. And also, because everyone is everywhere, we are a non-profit. All of us are volunteers here, right? And I guess we would love to, and we want to help businesses. So if any of your businesses would like to be featured at Agentics Foundation, we have a sponsorship mechanism. It's there on the website. So we welcome sponsorship from anyone, and also any contributions in kind, like the office space, to run our events. We want to run it every 2 weeks initially, and I think we got Vincent here. I must point out, who's doing some great work in the France, both UK and France. So Vincent, you might want to say a couple of words about what you're trying to do.
In between France and UK, because I'm in Jersey, in the Channel
Yes.
Islands. So I'm a mix between both cultures.
You're the bridge, Vincent.
Yeah, that's it. That's the key. I'm the bridge. So right now my focus is on building APIs platform to detect deepfakes, audio, video, image, text, and so on, because it's becoming an issue in this AI world, the fakeness of things, and people get abused on fake voice call that try to scam them and get their bank details and so on. So I'm building models, and I'm building frameworks to be able to deploy these models. And I use the techniques that we are talking today, the Agentics techniques we've been discussing so far. I'm using all of that stuff. So yeah, that's the focus. And then maybe next session I do a demo or show you my workflows and so on, and explain also how I work with Flow, because there are stuff that make it useful and stuff that you should be aware of because they are not quite ready for prime time. So it's important to know what they are. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Vincent. And last but not least, one of the other members of our basically co-founding team, 5 of us initially, and by the way, anyone, others are welcome to kind of volunteer, is Chris Bolter here, who's been doing some amazing work. So Chris, would you like to briefly introduce you and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a founder. I've been working on AI stuff about 4 years now, I guess, predominantly for building stuff. And probably like a lot of us here, I'm kind of almost more interested in the tools and what you're building. It's kind of more fun and interesting and exciting and constant innovation and kind of improvement. So I've been on a journey on the last couple of years trying to optimize kind of AI for coding, I guess. And yeah, the last 6 months, everything has really exploded quite a lot. I think Cursor was the first one to really make a significant difference to coding, if you like, beyond the kind of autocomplete paradigm. And then Claude Code really just took it to the next level. So a lot of it is really understanding how you redo the software development life cycle in the world of agentic coding, right? And yeah, probably at the next call or one of the future ones, I'll be able to show what I'm working on, which is it's a different type of orchestration tool, if you like, to kind of Claude Flow, just from a different philosophical standpoint, if you like. So I believe essentially in very short iterative loops. So I want to be very controlled about what I tell the AI to do, and I want to validate the work and then kind of continue from there. And that's cool when you're working in a terminal on kind of one, but as soon as you want to build bigger things, then actually, going through all these different tabs, trying to find out where you need to, approve stuff or change things and do all that's a bit of a pain. So I'm actually building a kind of GUI at the moment, which has all the configuration and orchestration kind of built in, and then basically a task inbox for all of the agent supervision, if you like. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to give a demo on that in a couple of weeks' time, because I only started working on it 48 hours ago, but I have most of the interface together already, which is quite cool.
Nice one. And again, open to the floor here. Anyone wants to share anything before this is going to continue? I'll let it build, and once it is done, I may have to troubleshoot a bit. I'll see if I can record it, but then I will share the output with you. I will also, the code base is also public. I'm not sure if I've shared the link, so I will put the link to the code base because I'm going to periodically check it in on the chat. So you can also look and contribute and test. So there it is. On that note, then, our first series, thank you all for your participation. And we look forward to the next one in 2 weeks' time. If we can do it in person, we'll do it in person and also live cast it. So whatever. And please, anyone wants to do any demos, member spotlights, etc. on database, please drop one of the us here. You heard Ben's, Chris, Rocky, Vincent, or I, right? Just point that to us or in the group. We have a group at the end of the day, so just mention the group. Keep the conversation coming. Thank you all. All right.
Thanks very much.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye.